She wanted love more than anything, but every time it got close, something inside her pushed it away. Not because she did not care, because she cared so much it terrified her. She would meet someone wonderful, someone kind, someone present, someone safe, and instead of feeling relief, she felt panic, a quiet, desperate panic that whispered, "This is too good, this will not last. Leave before they leave you." So she would pull back, create distance, find reasons to doubt, convince herself she did not need this. And then, the moment they started to pull away, she would chase them right back, desperately, urgently, painfully. She did not understand what was happening inside her. She just knew that love always felt like this, like standing at the edge of something beautiful and being too afraid to step inside. If any part of that felt like your story, this video was made for you, because what you just heard has a name, and understanding that name will change everything. Fearful avoidant attachment is the most misunderstood attachment style of all. Most people have heard of anxious attachment, the one where you cling, where you need constant reassurance, where emotional distance feels like abandonment. And most people have heard of avoidant attachment, the one where you pull back, where intimacy feels suffocating, where you prefer distance over vulnerability. But fearful avoidant attachment is both. At the same time, you desperately want closeness, and you are absolutely terrified of it. You crave deep love, and you sabotage it the moment it arrives. You fear abandonment, and you also fear engulfment. You want someone to stay, and something in you works against that every single time. This is not confusion. This is not difficult. This is not something you chose or created. This is what happens when the nervous system learns that the very people who were supposed to be safe were also the people who caused the most pain. Love and fear became the same thing, and your heart has been trying to survive that contradiction ever since. Fearful avoidant attachment does not develop overnight. It is built slowly, in the smallest moments of childhood, moments where comfort was followed by confusion, where love was real but also unpredictable, where the person you ran to for safety was sometimes the source of your fear. This does not mean your childhood was terrible. It does not mean your parents were bad people. It simply means that emotional safety was not consistent. Sometimes love was warm and present and soft, and sometimes, without warning, it shifted, became cold, became critical, became frightening, became absent. And your nervous system did something very intelligent. It learned to want connection because connection is a biological need, and it learned to fear connection because connection had also meant pain. So it split. It created a pattern that looks like this: I need you. Do not come too close. Please do not leave. Why are you still here? That pattern, carried into adulthood, becomes fearful avoidant attachment, and it touches every relationship you enter, every single one. So how do you know if this is you? Here are the signs that you carry fearful avoidant attachment. Sign 1. You want a deep connection, but intimacy makes you want to run. When a relationship starts getting serious, when someone starts showing up consistently, something inside you starts looking for the exit, not because you do not care, because caring this much feels dangerous. Sign 2. You self-sabotage at the worst possible moments. Things are going well, really well, and then you start an unnecessary argument. You pull back without explanation. You find something wrong with someone who was perfectly right for you. This is not self-destruction. This is your nervous system trying to control the ending of the story before someone else controls it for you. Sign 3. You are terrified of abandonment, but you also push people away. You cannot stand the thought of someone leaving, but you also cannot fully let someone stay. You keep people at a very specific distance, close enough to feel connected, far enough to feel safe. Sign 4. You oscillate between needing someone desperately and feeling suffocated by them. One day you want more closeness, the next day their presence feels overwhelming. One week you are texting constantly, the next week you need space and you cannot explain why. This is not an inconsistency, this is two nervous system responses fighting each other inside the same heart. Sign 5. You struggle to trust even when there is no evidence of betrayal. Someone treats you well, consistently, kindly, patiently, and still, a voice inside you whispers, "This cannot last." Something is wrong. They will eventually show you who they really are. That voice is not intuition. That voice is a wound speaking in the language of fear. Sign 6. Conflict feels catastrophic. A small disagreement does not feel like a disagreement. It feels like the relationship is ending. It feels like proof that you were right to be afraid. It activates something so deep and so old that your reaction feels completely out of proportion, even to you. Sign 7. You find emotionally unavailable people magnetic because somewhere in the logic of your wound, someone who cannot fully show up feels safer than someone who can. If they cannot fully have you, they cannot fully lose you. If the connection is never complete, the pain of losing it will never be complete either. Sign 8. You give a lot, but struggle to receive. You are generous with your love, your time, your energy, your presence. But when someone tries to love you back, fully and openly, something in you does not know what to do with it. Because being loved requires being seen, and being seen has not always felt safe. Sign 9. You replay conversations obsessively. After interactions with people you care about, your mind goes back again and again. Did I say too much? Did I say too little? Did I push them away? Did I come on too strong? This is your nervous system on high alert, scanning constantly for signs of rejection. Sign 10. Part of you believes you are fundamentally unlovable, not consciously perhaps, but somewhere deep beneath every relationship you have entered, there has been a quiet belief that if someone truly knew you, all of you, they would leave, and so you either show them only part of yourself or you leave first, before they get the chance. If you recognized yourself in even 3 or 4 of these signs, you are not broken. You are not difficult. You are not too much or not enough. You are someone whose nervous system learned to protect itself in the only way it knew how. Fearful avoidant attachment does not just affect how you feel inside. It creates very specific patterns in your relationships, patterns that repeat with almost painful predictability. The first pattern is the push-pull cycle. You pull someone close, and then you push them away, and then you panic when they start to go, and then you pull them back, and the cycle begins again. This cycle is exhausting for both people, and it is not something you choose consciously. It is your nervous system trying to find safety in a situation where safety has never felt certain. The second pattern is choosing unavailable partners, because someone who cannot fully commit, someone who keeps you at arm's length, feels paradoxically safer than someone who wants to be fully present. Full presence requires full vulnerability, and full vulnerability for a fearful avoidant is the most terrifying thing in the world. The third pattern is emotional flooding. Small triggers create enormous responses. A late reply feels like rejection. A canceled plan feels like abandonment. A change in someone's tone feels like the beginning of the end. These responses are not dramatic. They are nervous system activations. Your body is reacting to a present moment through the lens of every painful moment that came before it. The fourth pattern is the longing for connection you simultaneously avoid. You watch other couples, you see their ease, their comfort, their safety with each other, and something in you aches for that deeply. But when it is offered to you, something in you cannot accept it. Not yet, because accepting it means trusting it, and trust, for someone who learned that love and pain arrive together, is the hardest thing of all. Here is the most important thing I want you to hear. Fearful avoidant attachment is not a life sentence. It is a nervous system pattern, and nervous systems can learn new things at any age, at any stage, no matter how long the pattern has been running. Healing begins with one thing: compassion, not discipline, not willpower, not trying harder to be less afraid. Compassion. For the part of you that learned to love and fear at the same time. For the child who needed safety and had to create her own. For the woman who has been trying to protect herself in the only way she was ever taught. The second step is learning to stay present when your instinct says run, not forcing yourself to stay in situations that are genuinely unsafe, but learning to notice the difference between this is actually dangerous and this is just unfamiliar. Because for a fearful avoidant, safety feels unfamiliar, and unfamiliarity triggers the same alarm as danger. Learning to pause in that moment and ask, am I actually in danger, or does this just feel like something I have never let myself have before? That pause, that single moment of awareness, is where healing lives. The third step is allowing yourself to be seen gradually. You do not have to open everything at once. You do not have to trust completely before trust has been earned. But practice letting someone see one true thing about you, one honest feeling, one real need, one genuine moment of being exactly who you are, and notice what happens. Notice if the world ends. Notice if they leave. Notice if perhaps being seen feels different than your fear told you it would. And the fourth step, the one that changes everything, is choosing relationships where you feel safe enough to be honest. Not perfect. Safe enough. Because healing does not happen in isolation. It happens in connection. In the small, brave moments of letting someone stay long enough to show you that love does not always have to hurt. You came into this video perhaps wondering why love always feels so hard. Why do you want it so desperately and fear it so completely at the same time? Now you know, and knowing is not a small thing. Knowing is the moment everything begins to change. You are not broken. You are not unlovable. You are not destined to repeat this pattern forever. You are someone whose heart learned to survive in difficult conditions. And survival is something to honor, not something to be ashamed of. But you do not have to just survive anymore. You are allowed to heal. You are allowed to choose differently. You are allowed to let love feel safe. This week, try one small act of emotional honesty with someone you trust. Not a grand confession, just one true thing. I felt hurt when this happened. I need a little more reassurance. I am struggling with this and I wanted you to know. Just one sentence. And notice how it feels to be seen and still be standing. Because that feeling, that is what healing feels like. One small, brave moment at a time. If this video resonated with you, watch our next video, How to Stop Abandoning Yourself. In relationships, the link is in the description below. Share this with a woman who needs to understand herself today. And subscribe to Anima Rising. where women heal, grow, and finally feel safe coming home to themselves. You were never too afraid to love. You were simply never shown that love could feel safe.